welcome to Robbie's Kitchen. This is day 4 of our Lent challenge, and today we're going to make cherry trefoil buns from the Good Housekeeping Cookery Companion. Should turn out like that, but you know this show, we see how things turn out at the end. Right, for our ingredients today, we need 1 pound of already sieved flour. Look at that, heavy, isn't it? Right, we'll need a bit of salt. We need 2 ounces of fat. Four ounces of sugar. What else have we got? Oh, yeast, a bit of yeast. Better. Half a pint of already warmed milk. As you can see, the steam's coming off it. So we've only just warmed that. 1 egg. And 4 ounces of glacier cherries. Shall we begin? Let's see what mess we can make today. Right. Sieve flour and salt and rubbing fat. Now you saw me do this in yesterday's show, so we'll just sprinkle some salt in because we tend to use rock salt. Not too much. Don't want to take the sweetness of the pastry. And then, as I said before, I wash my hands before every single show. And this is another rubbing in method. This will take a while. So we'll do a jump cut. Right, our next ingredient is the sugar. Now it advises that we reserve a teaspoon of sugar. So I'm sure we'll be coming back to that in a minute. Put it in there for now. And we just add that in like that. Now, if you're like me, you're probably trying to work out how you're going to measure half an ounce of yeast. As you can see with modern technology, there is no real measurements for half an ounce. So what you do is get your yeast open, you take your teaspoon, and you just take the tip, about that much, and you pop that in, like that. I'm sure we'll be using yeast in future recipes, so we'll always make sure we've got the lid and we'll stick that on tight, because yeast is actually a living entity. It's a live yeast. So you want to make sure it's always, no, there's nothing to be scared of, it can't kill you. But you always want to make sure it's tightly sealed. Okay? Right, so now you just give this all a good thorough stir, because you want everything to be well mixed in and you want that yeast to really get in there. Right, sorry about that sudden break, but her phone rang the house. My wife went to pick it up and there was nobody there. Spooky phone calls. Right, as I said, you want to really make sure that everything is fully stirred, otherwise you're just going to end up with a mess. So, hopefully That's all lovely well mixed in. At this point, you add the milk you warmed earlier. You can tell it's still warm because there's still steam coming off it. Maybe perhaps it's a bit too warm because there's a bit of a skin to it. Oh, and mind you, just add that in. It smells like porridge already. And you take your egg, and you saw me, if you watch these on a regular basis, then you've already seen me do this. And you saw how comical I was with this the first time round, but since this is something you should already know, we're going to beat an egg. And that goes in there, like that. Now you just merely make sure you give this a very good stir because you want everything to bind together at this stage. Even if it is a pound of flour. Now as sense will dictate, your fork ain't going to be enough for this. You need to get, some of you will say this is the point you need to get a blender. Those are those lazy people. What you really want is your good old friend, the wooden spoon. Right? This will help it to spot those who belong in the kitchen. Right? And you just stir that in. Now this will take some time, so we'll join you when it's fully stirred. As you can see, what you'll end up with is a really stiff dough. And that's how you'll know it's ready, if it clings to your spoon. Right, now for the next fun step. Just grab a knife, like a knife, as some people like to call it, and you want to chop your cherries. Usually about an half will do the trick. You don't want to. Just be very careful when cutting dough. Yeah, see what I'm doing here? Fingers either side, knife in middle, cut. Right? Hopefully, by doing it that way, you won't cut yourself. Okay? Now these are going to take me a while to cut, so I'll join you again in a minute. Now some chefs, you may have seen on the shows, go and they're done, right? Yeah, that's all well and good. But please, if you're going to be following my recipes, I'd rather you cut safely than quickly. Right? As I said, better to be slow and sure than quick and end up in the accident emergency ward. And these, as you may have guessed, are going to go in here. And in case you wonder what that sound was, that's our cat Toby. These cats were always trying to make cameos in our shows, but and you try your best to stir these in. Ooh, see what was it? Or if you can't stir it, just fold them in so that, because you're they'll still get in there, you know. Right, well, let me just very quickly clean up after myself. I'll let the cat entertain you while I'm doing that. Right. It says was to one last twist before I do this bit. Right, now you just cover your dough and you leave that for an hour. So we'll join you in about an hour and you can see how that dough turns out. Now we've left our dough an hour to rise. If you remember, we covered it. And round about now, this feels quite heavy. Look at that, right? Now what we're to do is we're to get our flour. You've seen me do this before. Flour board. So, why do we do it? So the pastry / dough doesn't stick to the board. Yeah, yes. We also put flour on our hands because we are going to need the dough. Well, we've just come from a moment of panic, but don't worry about that. Well, my wife keeps telling me I just need to keep putting flour down and then we keep pulling it and then now if you've got a very posh bread maker, this would probably do the job. Although there's some of us purists who believe that it just won't be as good end result. Sometimes it pays to put some effort into your baking. See, the truth of the matter is, I've never worked with such large quantities of flour before, as you've seen it before. As you can see, it does start to form into a nice big dough. Are we done with this, you reckon, boss? Is this pliable? So the sort of result I'm looking for? Okay. Boss says it's alright, so we'll go on to our next step. Which is now, once you've got your dough into a nice big ball, what you want to do is tear off little chunks, and yeah, you will get the cherry glass pieces in there. That's what you particularly want to do anyway. And you put in your already pre-greased tray. You want smaller ones than that, so dear me. In case I haven't mentioned this before, as well as teaching you how to cook, I'm also learning myself at the exact same time. So if things don't go a little bit according to plan on these shows, that's because I'm as new to this as you are. Well, if you're not new to cooking, then, well, I'm probably newer to cooking than you are. But what you want to try and do is take little balls of the dough, roll them up into smaller balls. Yes, your hands will get sticky and you will quiet the flour. Again. And so you just want to do little ones, and then you want to put a glacier sherry into the centre of each, like that. So that's ball. 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 Cherry. Ball. 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 Cherry. And the idea is you're supposed to do this until you've either filled up your tray first or run out of dough first. Shall we take a bet? I'll tell you what, pause the video and come back to me in about 5 minutes. Okay, what did you bet, chaps and lasses? If you bet on the dough running out first, I've got news for you. You were wrong. If you bet on the tray running out first, ding 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 ding, give yourselves a pat on the back. Now, because we've got a bit of dough left over, in our case, you may have thought to get yourself a few more trays or whatever, but we've only got the one patty tray here in this house, so I'm just going to roll out this dough, as is, and my wonderful, sexy assistant, otherwise known as my beautiful wife, is going to pass me another tray. Previously greased up. And that will pop in as is, and we'll eat that as a little loaf, cherry loaf. Now you want your temperature on your oven today at gas mark 8. As per usual, I'll be flashing up those temperatures up on the screen later. Let's pop these in the oven. What did I do with the oven gloves?
I don't know, but you can put it in.
And they should take about 20 minutes to cook. So So we'll see you in about 20 minutes. Right. Well, we shoved them in the oven about 20 minutes ago. I wonder what they'll look like. Oh, just feel the steam coming off that. There they are. That's what they look like when they come out of the oven. But as you can imagine, they're a bit hot right now. So we'll leave them here to that'll teach me. I'll leave them here to cool. And those are your cherry trefoil buns. They're being a bit hot right now. So we'll just let them cool, and then I'll tell you how they taste later. See you in a few. Now, I've mentioned this before, but the cook's privilege is always to get the first taste, or the first cake in this instance. And if we just prize that out, oh, look at that. Nice spongy at the bottom, crispy on the top. Oh, it's going to be a treat, this. This rolled off earlier, so we'll have the cherry. Crunchy. I've got a sort of fluffy consistency to it. And the taste of cherries is really coming through. Yeah. So it's a bit of patience you need to finish the dish off, but it's quite easy to make and quite enjoyable as well. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. God bless.